Hey, good afternoon. This is Brian Johnson, and today I'm going to share with you a amazing creation that I've got called the Fat Incinerator that I think you're going to love. And I figured, what a better place to do it at than in beautiful downtown Austin, Texas. So here's what we got. I'll give you a little view of downtown, so you can kind of see my scenery, kind of get an idea of the vibe. If you haven't been to Austin, you should definitely check it out. Don't move here though. There's too many people moving here, but I haven't found another place where you can find more high-level entrepreneurs in one place at one time. So now let's get to work. So today we're going to talk about the Fat Incinerator, and this specific smoothie is amazing for staying in the ketosis, which means your body's going to use fat for fuel, which is the ideal way to function. Okay, so today's smoothie is going to be geared around doing a smoothie with no sugars in it, and I'm going to show you my new toy that I just got that I think you'll dig. So, my new toy here is the Chef's Companion. I'm a knife enthusiast because I use a lot of knives to cut vegetables. This is actually a sushi knife, and I use it to cut vegetables. So we're going to use this today during our little demonstration. First thing we're going to talk about is cucumbers. So, one of the many benefits of cucumber is that if you are a female and you have osteoporosis, or you're looking to prevent that scenario, this actually is very high in silica, which helps to build bone density and hair, skin, and nails. Now, one of the most important things about this is that it's extremely alkaline. Okay, alkaline means that's when your body is going to function best. That's when your immune system is going to thrive, your hormones are going to thrive. Another important characteristic of the cucumber is that if you have urinary tract infections from being too acidic, this is a much better option than doing cranberry juice because of the sugars. Okay, if you are a diabetic, type 1, type 2, doesn't matter. This is a great blood sugar stabilizer, so we'll use a lot of the cucumber, okay? Next thing, mint. Peppermint is amazing. I use a lot of essential oil peppermint. This specifically is a real deal peppermint. Now, if you have breathing issues, this is extremely potent. It has some stuff called rosmarinic acid that actually opens up your alveoli, or your oxygen capacity in your lungs, to help you breathe more oxygen. Amazing for digestive issues. If you have upset stomach or digestive issues, mint is amazing for that, and it also knocks the edge off of beets, which we'll talk about next. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this before. Beets beat disease. This can increase your oxygen uptake up to 400%, which is amazing. So anytime you're talking about disease, the whole idea for disease reversal and disease prevention is mass amounts of oxygen in your body. When you have oxygen in your body, that's when you are alkaline. When you are acidic from sugars and alcohol, processed foods, negative emotions is one of the biggest ones. That's when our bodies are very acidic, and that's when diseases and illness and pain and inflammation can run rampant. The beet is amazing for that, okay? One of the other important things of this is if you have anemia, the beet is your highest source of iron, which is very important. Now, this is very important. If you're using the beet to reverse anemia, you must pair it with a vitamin C containing food. And today specifically, we're going to use the lime because it knocks the edge off of the vegetables. If you wanted to use the kiwi or camu berry, those are another two very good sources. Now, something you may not know about the beet is it is actually high in a substance called uridine. Uridine helps to fight depression. So if you have depression, this may be something for you to kind of put into your smoothie. Now, it's important to understand the beet is very potent, so using like maybe a third of this to half of this is plenty. Although today, we're going to use both of these. And I'm also going to use the mint and the lime to balance out the flavor. Okay, so that's the red beet. Next one we're going to use is the orange beet. Now, anytime you see orange, like orange bell peppers, goji berries, carrots, sweet potatoes, all of those have zeaxanthins and beta-carotene. Beta-carotene and zeaxanthins are great for our eyes and great for our lungs. This is what the orange beet is for. Now, the orange beet is not near as potent from a taste profile as the red beet, so it's a little easier to get down. Now, talk a little bit about the lime. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. This has some stuff called glycosides in it, which is a great cleanser. It's great for kidney detoxification. It's great for our complexion. And this is amazing at helping your smoothie to taste great. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're eating a lot of vegetables taste like you just went and mowed your yard and you're drinking it. So having something like the mint and the lime can make an amazing difference on knocking or adjusting the flavor profile to where you can take it, which is a huge deal. Okay. Now, a couple more. Ginger. Ginger is amazing because it is a yang food, which means it brings heat. Now, this is important. Ladies or men both who have poor circulation issues in your hands and your lower extremities are getting cold, this is the food that will help with that. Now, very important if you're eating a lot of vegetables, green ones specifically, like wheatgrass we'll talk about, cucumber, are very yin. Yin is cooling, yin is female, yang is male, yang is heat. So having something like the ginger in there to balance out all of the vegetables helps to balance out the yin and the yang, and it's like having ginger and garlic together. Okay? Now, something you may not know. This is one of your top pain inhibitors. I'm going to show you your other one. Have you ever seen this? It's turmeric. We'll talk about it in a second. These two are your top pain inhibitors. There's something you can make called fire water, where you put probably this whole piece of ginger in water and grind it up, and it literally is really hot and it's really potent at knocking down your inflammation. It has something called COX-2 inhibitors, which strawberry also has them. But this is amazing for making sure that you are helping to alleviate your pain. Now, some other things about ginger is that it also has some compounds similar to serotonin. It actually has 9 of them that are similar to serotonin, and this will attach to receptors in our body that help to lower anxiety. This is also great for nausea. So if you have nausea or you're throwing up, or maybe you even have, you're pregnant and you're having morning sickness, this is amazing for that. This is a blood thinner as well. So ginger is very potent. It's definitely a top superfood, so using it often is a great idea. This one you don't really see a lot. You probably have heard of it. This is one of our top superfoods. This is called turmeric. This has actually got some stuff, the orange stuff in there is called curcumin. This is what curry is made out of. This is a heavy-duty spice in India. Now, something you may not know. Prostate cancer runs rampant in the U.S. because of all of the meats and things that we eat. In India, prostate cancer is roughly about 2%. Breast cancer is in that same statistic, and they think because of the curcumin and the turmeric. Now, important thing is to remember, if you are fighting illness and you are looking to get healthier, or you need to reverse an illness, this is a blood purifier. So is the beet. So having both of these is not a can I get away with it? It's a necessary and a mandatory food to make sure you're eating these on a daily basis. This one has got an interesting flavor, and we'll be able to disguise it with the lime and the mint. So that's why the lime and the mint are really potent. And I'll actually show you how much we'll use in a second. So this one, you probably heard me talk about this. This is wheatgrass. Now, if you have high blood pressure, this is one of the things that will lower it. Okay. Now, if you have low blood pressure, do not eat this because it will make your blood pressure lower. Anything that I say in this video, I highly encourage you to check with your physician before you implement anything, because you always want their support. And I also encourage you to consider this, is that less than 6% of graduating physicians have a minimum of 3 hours of nutritional education. So what I'm sharing with you here, they're not going to know. So I encourage you to do your research and ultimately do what you feel best with, because ultimately you are the one who's in charge of your health, just like I am. And to kind of give you a little bit of feedback, I haven't been sick in over 24 years, and I started doing this stuff when I was 7. How I got into doing disease-specific foods was because my dad came down with prostate cancer. And when I started talking to all my friends and all the people that I know in the business, from health practitioners and naturopathic doctors and chiropractors, none of them really had any response or any answer to help my dad. So this is what sent me on a mission to find what foods equate to certain medicines to help reverse certain issues, and that's how we kind of got here. Okay. Now, kale, purple kale, extremely high in a lot of magnesium and a lot of very potent minerals. So having a little bit of this is good. Having a lot of it will probably make your smoothie taste like crap. So make sure you just have a little bit at a time, okay? So now I'm gonna show you how much we're actually gonna put in the smoothie now, okay? I'm gonna use half this cucumber. I'm going to chop the edges of it off, and this knife is extremely sharp, so watch your fingers. And it doesn't take a lot of manpower to do it, all right? And I like taking these things and cutting them a little bit to make it a little bit smoother of a process when I'm putting them in the blender. So I'll cut it in probably 3 more halves. So I'll take all this, bada bing, and you're gonna want a 3 horsepower blender because it's gonna chop up everything. I'm gonna take this much ginger, and I'll probably knock some of the edges off. And the good thing about this knife is it's pretty easy to get into little corners, so I can chop stuff off without having to get too dirty and too messy. And that's a good thing because when you start chopping up beets can stain your clothes. And this thing gets really tight on the edges, so I still have most of it on there. I only cut a little bit off. Alright, so now we're going to use some turmeric. I'm not going to use a lot of this. I'm going to use a little bitty finger about like that. I'm going to put this whole beet in there. I'm just going to cut the edges of it off. That is what your blood looks like. So this is amazing for your health, but we're going to disguise the way that it tastes. And I'm going to cut this in a couple of pieces. You see how red it is? And if you see that, it's like blood on there. Alright, now we're going to go orange beet. This is good for your eyes and your lungs because of the zeaxanthins for the orange color. This one's a little cleaner, so I'm not going to have to cut as much off. If you look, it looks pretty crazy. It looks like a tree would if you cut it in half. And it's got all the little swirls and stuff in there. A lot of amazing nutrients in there. I'm going to do a whole line. We're just going to chop it up so it's easier for the blender. And chop it up before. And I'm going to put. Anytime you're using beets, I encourage you to make your smoothie taste good. Unless you're a veteran, I don't care what it tastes like, and a lot of people do, so it's important to make sure it tastes good. If I'm doing something like that, I'm going to put at least that much mint in there. For the wheatgrass, I'm going to use about this much. About a handful. I'll open it up, okay? And I'm gonna put probably only about that much kale for right now because it's got a really strong flavor. And like I said, you can always add more and you can't go back. So just add a little bit. If you always need to add more, you can. All right. Now what we're going to do is blend it up. So you cut it. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to use a Vitamix. And it's really important if you're really looking to get an amazing smoothie experience, you're going to want to get or choose to get a 3 horsepower blender. Like this is a Vitamix. I have a Blendtec. There's also one called an MTN, like a Mary, Tom, Nancy. I got from my parents for about $150. If you're getting something like this, you're going to expect to invest anywhere from $250 to $400. You can find these for $250. And if you're thinking, wow, Brian, that's a lot of money. How much is your health worth to you? I promise you, you'll get your money back the first week with what this thing does. It's an amazing difference, and I encourage you to consider investing in your health because it costs a lot more to be sick than to be unhealthy. So, here we go. I'm just going to get it going. It's got a dial in here where I can turn it up. I'm not ready for that one yet. It's got some horsepower because it moves my arm around. All right. Probably go up about a minute. pretty good smoothie consistency. Now me, being a chef, I always drink out of the jar to say it's tasted, so you do what works for you. It's actually not bad. It's gonna need a little bit more mint and just a little bit more ginger. And that's an easy fix. Now understand, if you're talking about burning fat and choosing to stay in ketosis where your body's using fats for fuel, you don't want sugars. So get used to using the lime, the mint, and the lemon as your flavor profiles. And as you get your body fat down to where you want to go, you can always go to using fruits. If you're gonna use fruits and you're like, hey Brian, I'm not that hardcore yet, I need to do something that's got a little bit more ease into the situation, then you can use berries. You can use blackberries, that's your lowest glycemic index, which means it turns the sugar the slowest. You can use berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. So I hope you enjoyed today. You got some value out of it. Hopefully you learned something new today. If you did, please share it. If you would like to ask me questions, feel free to respond to this email, this video, however you get this smoothie video, and let me know what your thoughts are and what you learned for it. So have an amazing day from Austin, Texas. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Bye-bye.